Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much for joining, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. We will be reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of December 2025. Do bear with me today. I am getting over a bit of a cold because, like an idiot, I forgot to wear my scarf when I was out in London, and now it's safe to say that it's been a bit of an uphill struggle to try to get that voice back. I should keep it on a lead because it's lost that, in addition to sometimes my ability to speak, because I need to figure out what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it whilst having a very scratchy throat. Anyways, if you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates. Give a few comments below in the comments section. And also, if you'd like to support me monetarily, feel free to give some quid, some dollars, some renminbi, some euros, whatever you like. You can even give some shillings if you want. And chuck that in the PayPal link in the description box as well. So we're going to go ahead straight into it, Aries. I know we don't want to mess about with you. We start off with the Page of Swords. So this is you gathering information in your current energy. This is you scoping out the facts. You can see that there are two tattoos on this person's neck. There's the eye, the all-seeing eye, which is one of my favorite symbols. And additionally, you have the serpent, which is another one of my favorite symbols. And what this person is doing, they're using those two energies to see and to act. So the snake is on his hand. The snake is an animal of action. It strikes swiftly. It's also a symbol of Kundalini rising. So what you're doing right now is you're charging yourself up, gathering all the information, sizing the situation up, and you're ready to attack whenever you need to. So that's what I kind of get from that card. Additionally, the challenge is the Six of Swords. So if you find it difficult for you to move on from something that was painful in the past and move from those choppy waters into calmer and stiller waters to the other shore, then that is what you are trying to understand how to do now. Maybe you had difficulty moving on from a situation that was quite painful and difficult to deal with, because the Page of Swords also communicates those types of painful lessons, or things that you need to know about yourself. So maybe these are you telling yourself some difficult truths that you have to internalize, or maybe it's you moving on from a situation that was definitely unfavorable, but now you find yourself pushing forward and doing your best to move that energy into a more positive direction. So in the recent past, you have the, how can we say here, King of Wands. And additionally, we have, clarifying the King of Wands, we have the Two of Cups and the Knight of Wands. So this is very fast moving energy. This is a person who feels very passionate about something or someone, preferably normally someone. Because in these cards we have here a lot of people involved. So we have the Page of Swords, we have the King of Swords, the King of Wands, the Knight of Wands. We have some other people sprinkled about in this reading as well. But in the recent past, what you had is a very passionate, very fiery connection, probably more sex-based than anything else. It was fueled by probably some, let's be adults here, probably some good dick, probably some good pussy, whatever you want to call it. I hate to use those words for those who are a bit more squeamish about using pejoratives, but such is the case of being an adult. We can say what we want after the 8 seconds on YouTube, where YouTube doesn't tend to demonetize the channel. So, good. We'll move into that part of the conversation. Someone you felt strongly about, someone you felt very passionately about, that you move towards with a lot of gusto. And now, moving towards the future, you have the Ace of Coins in the reverse and the Four of Wands. So, Ace of Coins in the reverse to the Four of Wands. It's almost given me the impression that you don't want anything stable in the home life. It's like you don't want to accept an offer of commitment or stability or something to celebrate as a milestone in the relationship. So this is almost like a no strings attached type of relationship. I'll clarify with another card. Yeah, King of Coins in the reverse as well. So either A, you don't want anything committed or stable, and you're just choosing to forgo that in order to focus on other issues, possibly with a bit of challenges related to your physicality or your finance and work. Or you are struggling with something that is threatening your stability at the home. So maybe this is something that you'll turn your attention to now. So if this isn't love, maybe sometimes in the past you were just like, yeah, I love this job, I'm going to work and, going to go out there and slay it. And now you're in a position where you're just like, oh crap, my job's not here. I need to kind of figure this out. Or maybe my job is under threat and I'm trying to figure out what to do next. So that said, however the case applies to you, feel free to, apply this reading to that specific part. We then have the Knight of Swords as the card that is at the core of this energy. Clarifying the Knight of Swords. Clarify the Knight of Swords. We have the Emperor, but it's on its side. So it's almost like whatever this thing is that's threatening your stability in the home life, it's almost like you want to attack it. You want to do your best to resolve it or to push it back. But unfortunately, there's not enough control or mastery that you have gained yet to understand how to do that, which is probably why you're in the Page of Swords energy and not in the Knight of Swords at this particular current time. Even though this is the energy at the core, this is not the energy that you are currently acting on, as it is not in the center of this reading. So it's important for you to understand what kind of control and power and authority you need to work with in order to resolve this issue. Additionally, if this is an Emperor in your life, this is your card, Aries. It's almost like you're not feeling like yourself. You want to kind of understand why. It almost feels like you've lost a bit of your element in order to tackle this issue or to approach it in an Aryan way, which is being fearless, going after the solution, knocking it out, and then getting back to grazing in the field, just like a good old ram would do. Also, if this is related to the husband or a masculine figure in your life, which you are trying to deal with, then this may insinuate that you need to kind of meet this person head on rather than feeling afraid of saying what you need to say, because the Knight of Swords is not afraid to say what they need to say. And if you look at these two cards, it's like two somewhat masculine people getting ready for battle or getting ready to approach one another. It could be someone, say for instance, in a same-sex relationship, because you have twice two men involved in this. So, I mean, we're not going to leave out the people who are in same-sex relationships. Two men in here, madly in love, very passionately in love. At the very core of it now, they're kind of becoming slightly bitter enemies. But if it's not a same-sex relationship, it's just one is more of an authority in the relationship than the other. You have a king and a knight. You have an emperor and a knight at the core. So it's the same energy presented in different ways. Going into this, the energy that's at the very top of this, the crown energy, we have the devil, which we can't show all of that in the deck, but we also have, clarifying the devil, we have the Six of Coins and the Hangman in the reverse. So devil is all about getting out of toxicity, obsessions, and things of that nature. Six of Coins is about what you give and take, and the Hangman in the reverse is trying to see things from a different perspective, but failing to do so, or not wanting to do so. And so it's almost like a struggle. It's like two masculine people within a relationship, male or female, and they're now vying for control. So if this is a work situation, you would see like there are two people, one is in a more senior role than the other, and then when the two of them interact, there's a bit of a toxic dynamic which kind of plays out, where it's like the give and take is very difficult to manage, and furthermore, one person or both people are failing to see the other person's point of view or perspective in the process. Additionally, If this is a love relationship, we always have the Six of Coins here, and it has this letter in the middle of it, which talks about communication. So this is the art of give and take in communicating with someone specifically on a pragmatic level. So if you're in a relationship and you say, well, pick up the kids at 12, and then the person picks them up at 3, and then you're just like, why did you pick them up at 3? And, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that this and this was going to happen. So that kind of failure to communicate, or to be one, or this desire to be one-sided in a relationship, it's not conducive to sustaining it, and it will create a host of problems down the road. And this is a very problematic issue for people who have been in long-term relationships, especially if you are a person who has been married for a few years, so on. It can dissolve the relationship. So what we have here as the outcome, should things continue on their current course, I'm going to pause quickly so I can get a drink. Okay, yeah, save my throat from like going out and hacking my lungs all over the camera. That wouldn't be a very nice thing. Page of Coins on its side. Then we have the Empress and the Ace of Swords in the reverse. So should you continue on this current path, what it's going to do, it's going to make things very, very difficult for you. The relationship will fail to grow. The relationship will be riddled with lies, because if you can't meet each other head on, one person's going to act subversively and try to lie and go behind the other person's back. That is what happens when you fail to resolve conflict amicably and in a mature way. And additionally, the Page of Coins is about learning how to do that. The page is also a communicator, because we have the page of a book, which is where that partially comes from. But then a page is also a royal communicator, and should you have a failure to communicate, it's going to be on its side just like that anyway. The energy is not being recognized. It's only potential, but it's not actually being turned into kinetic, real world experience. So what's going to happen is, if there's a failure to communicate, then you will eventually find yourself getting in the situation where it's very hard for this relationship to sustain itself. And furthermore, pull one more card. What will happen? Yeah, failure to communicate, and then Five of Cups. So don't disappoint yourself by two things. Don't disappoint yourself by staying in a shit relationship. No one wants to do that. We don't have the time to do that. Leave a relationship and do life on your own. If you have a lot of assets tied up between yourself and the other person, seek a third party. That will probably help. Another thing that you could do is Seven of Coins. Get someone, or do it yourself. Try to see whether the relationship is worth investing in. Because what you notice here, and this is something that's very interesting, you have the Three of Wands in this particular Seven of Coins. So this is about waiting to understand what best to do next. These three arrows, it kind of reminds me of the Three of Wands. And it's waiting for your ships to come in after you find out what you're going to invest in. Is this going to be a good relationship to continue with? Have I had my needs met in this relationship? Has this been, trying and testing, or has there been some progress? And then you keep going on like that. And that's how you start to understand and ascertain what you should do before you throw it all away, or decide that, you can stick it out. Now, let's not get to that Five of Cups. And what I can say, if I wanted to go on like a minute rant, far too often relationships are predicated on this. So if you met someone and they gave you the tingles and they made you feel all nice and fluffy inside, like most people want these days, and you fail to look at the actual qualities and traits that this person has, that would only reveal themselves over time through a steady relationship, then it is your responsibility to do that when you enter into a relationship with anyone. Not to say you have to shit test people the entire time. That's usually done for personal validation. But to verify how a person's personality comes out, you have to be patient and you have to be receptive to understanding what is taking place as opposed to what you want to take place in the relationship with rose-tinted glasses. So this is the Queen of Pentacles. This is about being grounded and understanding and knowledgeable and resourceful rather than being impulsive. Additionally, when people get into relationships and they realize this person is no longer the right match, this is where the breakdown of commitment takes place. Instead of talking through the first stages and getting to know each other and courting each other, people instead, what they do is they enter into a relationship, they hook up, and then after a few weeks, they try to ask the where's this going thing, and the other person's already out the door. Because they know that they're just getting what they want. And they don't have to give back. And so that's where you get the one-sidedness from. People are now commodified as an experience for relationships. We've seen this on the dating apps. We see this in the real world, especially with divorce rates being what they are now. And oftentimes, people enter into relationships based on the passion and the emotion and not the practical aspects that will sustain the family unit long term. I've had this conversation with people before, and oftentimes if I have this conversation with some types, they will get angry with me. I don't really care if they get angry with me, but I do believe that the family unit is very important to sustaining civilization. If we keep with this hookup culture, give you 1 or 2 generations, you're going to have your sixth level extinction. And it's basically going to be done because of human hubris, pride perceived a fall. And there is no greater fall than going the way of the dodo because of dating apps and a desire for validation and the tingles. Anyways, that is one of my rants based on why I don't do love readings so much, because I think the entire dating scene is completely fucked, and it can get fucked as well until the beatings will continue until morale improves. And I'd take no qualms about that. Anyways, yeah, I will stay in my nice hermetic bubble for now until, the smoke clears in the dating scene. I will be doing this as a Taurus sun and a Virgo moon and a Sagittarius ascendant. That's going to be it. That's my rant for today. Thank you so much for my TED Talk. If you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell, and contribute monetarily, and also protect that good old-fashioned online community, because they're the ones bringing you the messages that you need to hear every day. Who needs the news when you've got YouTube? Thanks so much again. It's been the reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And until next time, love and light. Take care.